What's up, family? Billion-dollar bailouts have started, and the Fed is printing more money again. It's time to be worried. Everyone could lose their money if, number one, if bank runs end up starting to happen, and then number two, if the Fed doesn't bail out big financial institutions, which is exactly what's happening right now. But things could get worse over the next few weeks. Well, guys, the CEO of BlackRock, he has come out and made a bold statement. Here's what he said. He asked whether or not the dominoes are starting to fall after many, many years of people just easily making more money. And yes, that is exactly what's going on right now because things are getting troublesome for the United States economy as well as other countries as well. And this all pretty much started because of the pandemic back in March of 2022. And now investment companies, banks, could lose their money. The financial system. Are we on the brink of having another banking crisis, which we have seen back in 2008? Well, I'll give you the pointers today, guys. We just saw Silicon Valley Bank ended up collapsing last week. And then we saw following that, we saw Signature Bank following as well. And then we just heard from First Republic Bank. Yes, guys, they are in trouble as well, but they are getting a bailout by the large banks. And yes, guys, this bailout is going to be around $30 billion. This is ridiculous, guys. I mean, we have obviously been on a rampant firestorm going up for over the past 12 years or so. So this was bound to happen. The market has pretty much been strong since 2009, 2010. And here we are in 2023 or 22. And things are starting to get a little bit nasty. And yes, guys, big lenders are now injecting about $30 billion into the First Republic Bank. They are the third bank to receive a bailout in which they were having a little bit of trouble maintaining and staying afloat. Yes, guys, days after the federal regulators backstopped uninsured accounts at two failed banks, Signature Bank and Silicon Valley Bank, at least 8 of the country's largest lenders are stepping in to offer money, stimulus aid for First Republic Bank. Yes, guys, like I said, this is getting very troublesome. And we're also seeing information that came out a couple of days ago where Credit Suisse, which is a bank in Switzerland, they are also having some damaging news as well. Yes, guys, there is some uncertainty surrounding Credit Suisse, which is the Swiss banking giant that's long been plagued by regulatory woes and financial stress, which has wreaked havoc on global markets as concerns over rising interest rates around the world continue to lead to an historic bank failures and abrupt government intervention. And we were talking about the bailout, guys, which we ended up hearing earlier this week that the Secretary Janet Yellen, she said that she was not going to be willing to do any type of bailouts for anybody at this particular time, saying that we did enough bailouts. We saw enough back in the 2008 financial crisis. So we definitely don't want to do those same bailouts this year. Well, guys, I guess things have changed because they pretty much provided another bailout for these big conglomerate banks out there. And yes, guys, could Credit Suisse be the next one on the list? Well, guys, they ended up having to borrow about $54 billion from Switzerland's central bank. And yes, guys, this is just enough money to just keep them afloat during these economic times. And yes, Credit Suisse will borrow up to $50 billion from Swiss francs, which is around $53.68 billion from the Swiss National Bank under a covered loan facility, as well as a short-term liquidity facility. The company announced this information on Wednesday. Now, Credit Suisse is one of the only 30 global financial institutions that the International Financial Stability Board has designated as being systematically important. And yes, it is, guys, because whatever happens to them could actually trickle down to happen to all of the other banks as well. So yes, guys, basically, we've heard it before, but here it is again. They are too big to fail. We saw this with the auto industry back in 2008. We saw this with the financial industry. We saw this with the banking industry. And here we are again, guys. They say that different things ended up repeating themselves. Well, here we are again, guys, less than around 12 to 13 years later. But anyways, yes, guys, Credit Suisse is the largest shareholder, and Saudi National Bank said earlier on Wednesday that it couldn't provide any more capital because of regulations, and added that it couldn't own more than 10% of the Credit Suisse bank. So yes, guys, Switzerland is giving Credit Suisse this $54 billion, but it doesn't look like they have any more out there that is willing to give them more money, especially after the Saudi bank said that they will absolutely not give them no more money. They cannot own more than 10% of the huge bank. But anyways, guys, where will they be able to get additional money if the $54 billion is not enough money to cover things that they need it for? Well, guys, that could lead towards other banks following suit, which they are saying that this could be contagion if Credit Suisse end up collapsing like we've saw with these other three banks as well. So anyways, guys, yes, like I said, Credit Suisse, their shares ended up tanking a couple of days ago after the Saudi backer ended up making the announcement that they would not be able to give any further assistance to the failed bank and their failed policies that they have in place right now. This is completely insane, guys. These are completely morons. As we saw with the previous banks, they follow the same thing as well, guys. They have failed the American people. A lot of people lost their money that had it invested in Silicon Valley. And guys, this could happen to many more people as well. And just to give you a little bit of statistics in regards to the Silicon Valley Bank, which is the first bank that ended up collapsing, about 93% of people had their money in the bank. And those 93% of people did not have their money insured. And that is because most banks, FDIC, only insures up to $250,000. And this particular bank held a lot of money for a lot of startup companies. I believe Roblox ended up having around $150 million in this Silicon Valley Bank. And then we also saw another startup company ended up having over $2 billion, guys. So yes, this is hitting a lot of people right now, which these particular startup companies are unable to pay these payrolls, unable to pay their bills, unable to pay their mortgages and things like that, guys. And then also, as a statistic in regards to Silicon Valley Bank, 85% of the money at the bank was uninsured. That is a huge red flag, guys. And I believe we ended up seeing one CEO of a startup company. She said she had around $10 million in her personal account at this particular bank. And like I told you guys, even though they're getting the bailout, some of these individuals are going to lose majority of their money if they have more than $250,000, which is insured by the FDIC. So anyways, guys, this could get worse before it gets any better. Just when we thought the pandemic was almost over, pretty much over, we thought we were on the horizon going back up once again, we are facing another financial crisis. And guys, it could be worse. Americans could lose all of their money. And yes, guys, like I said, that if something happens to Credit Suisse, if this $54 billion does not work out and does not keep them afloat, investors are saying that they are the weakest link. If they ended up failing, it could consider a possible credit contagion to happen, which means that other banks will start falling down just like dominoes, guys. And like I said in the video, the dominoes are starting to fall. How long will they fall? Will they fall this week? Will they fall this weekend? Will they start next week, guys? But we definitely know if these bailouts don't continue and calm things down, things could happen. The dominoes could fall on every American in this country, as if we are not already struggling as it is, which means that stocks could go down, which means that people's retirement, people's insurance money, people's everything could all come to a halt, guys. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but anyways, yes, it could, guys. But in addition, like I told you about Secretary Janet Yellen, she ended up meeting with lawmakers earlier this week, and she actually said something a little bit weird. She said the U.S. financial system is sound, Yellen tells lawmakers. And yes, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told lawmakers on Thursday that the U.S. financial system is a solid footing following the second and the third largest bank collapse in the nation's history. And her remarks comes after a bank run on Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank bank forced federal regulators to close the banks and protect all the deposits in an effort to preserve public confidence in the U.S. banking system, which is why these particular bank runs are continuing to happen. Americans are no longer trusting these banking financial systems after what we just saw with this Silicon Valley Bank in California. So yes, guys, Americans are going to the bank. They are trying to withdraw all their money to put it in more of a safe place, to put it in either bonds, put it in either stocks or different things like that, or cash accounts. And yes, guys, just a reminder, if you have more than $250,000, you need to separate your money because FDIC only insures up to the $250,000. Now, as a caveat, some banks actually offer more than $250,000, but that is the standard amount. So depending on where you have your money, you definitely need to check with them to see exactly how much the FDIC insures your money with your particular bank. You need to know this, guys, because if not, you need to take action very quickly. But anyways, guys, like I said, Janet Yellen is facing some huge questions on the funding that she provided or the bailout for Silicon Valley Bank. Yes, guys, Yellen plans to tell senators that the emergency measures to protect depositors at Silicon Valley Bank won't be funded from or with taxpayer money. That is good to hear. Expect this to be the point of contention, as it may be the case that the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, insurance fund will have to be replenished by additional bank fees depending on the outcome of the auction of the SVB assets. Now, Senator James Lankford of Oklahoma, a Republican on the Senate Banking Committee, focused on this point in the Tuesday statement. And he said this. He says, "So let me tell you what's happening in the next few months," he said. "Banks in Oklahoma in rural towns are about to pay a special fee to be able to bail out millionaires in San Francisco." Now, what Oklahoma banks and bankers had to do with that bank failure in San Francisco, I have no idea. So anyways, guys, that is what we have on the horizon. Like I said, Americans could lose their money. All of the dominoes are on the brinks of all falling down and collapsing, just like the CEO of one of the largest banks, BlackRock. Yes, guys, that is exactly what he has said. He said the dominoes are starting to fall after many, many years of making easy money. But anyways, guys, protect yourself. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment them down below. But anyways, I hope all this information in this video was helpful to you today. Well, anyways, guys, hey, that's all I have for you today. But feel free to check out some of the links down below because there are a few offers for you to be able to support this channel, as well as an opportunity for you to receive 12 free stocks from Webull after depositing just $1. And those stocks could be worth up to $3,000. Also, you can get the Amazon Prime membership for totally free for 30 days. If you are interested in anything like that, hey, check out the links in the description. But anyways, if you enjoyed today's content and you want to see more, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. It's totally free. And if you like today's video, then go ahead and hit the like button for us. It really helps out this channel, as well as it tells YouTube to share this video with others. But anyways, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace.